Good evening, everyone. I hope Navneet, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay. So good to go. Yeah. Let's start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our space in such a large number, and I hope all of you enjoyed my last trade on cement sector, right? So we gave 3 days back, and after that, most of the cement stocks rallied some 10 to 15% in matter of 2 days. So this to before giving any outlook on the market, this year you will see lots of sector rotation, and chances are blind buy and hold will not make great money this year, right? And this is not my current view. I shared this view in October 2021, and after that Nifty is more or less on the same place, right? Around 17,300, 400. It went down all the way to 15,700, and before that it attempted a high of 18,600, but broadly in the range. A perfect sideways market for strategies like delta neutral or maybe some theta decay, whether some kind of a semi-directional approach. If you apply into this market, you can still make hell lot of money. So I'll be touching upon that point as well, right? So first thing first, let me share my two blockbuster call which we gave you on live on Twitter in last maybe 40, to be honest, 75 days. So first call we made on the Nifty around 12th Jan 2022, when Nifty was trading around 18,200, and we told you, please control your greed, book your profits around 18,200. And after that Nifty almost fallen almost like 2,000 points from that point, and around 16,300, 400, we told you, like, this is the time to buy, and this is one of the lifetime opportunity to go and buy this market when the war is on, huh? So this is the main point. When war was going on, I stick my neck out and told you to buy this market, and after that you saw almost a 1,000 point rally. Navneet, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. Please
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, so all right. So almost we saw a 1,000 point rally on the Nifty. But from here on, my view is similar to what I said in October 2021. This market is purely and purely a sideways market with lots of volatility. You are not going to go to 19,000, and you are not going to go to 15,000 or 14,000. You will stuck in this range for next 3 to 6 months, and then once the crude prices will see some kind of a cool off, let's say around 80, 85 or $75, and then BJP again win, let's say again win the 3 4 states, like again the Gujarat, they and Himachal and all, they again win. If they manage to win those states, and hopefully yes they will, and then you will see a next round of rally. This is my basic hypothesis. I'm right now working with, and I'm advising my clients on the similar lines. So because before forming any view, I try to analyze market with all the possible angle, right? So whenever you go to any institutions like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, you will see that they will always have a fundamental team, then they will have technical team, then they will have quant oblique derivative team. And what they do, they take independent view from fundamental team, they take independent view from technical team, and then they take view from derivative team, and they combined all three views together to make one investment or trading bet. This is how they do it, right? And this is their model. So basically they see almost everything possible in the market, and then they put the money. And this is so, like, and they make most of the money, and retailers generally lose the money. So the idea here is, if you want to make money like if you want to make money like institution, you have to behave like them. Otherwise, it is almost impossible to match their return, right? So if you want to make serious money in the market, then you should have some kind of a fundamental view. Otherwise, it is impossible to have the conviction on that trade. If you don't know the fundamental or the company behind, the company, what company is doing, what is the business, money making model of that company, it is almost impossible to hold on to that trade when the tide is against you. So you need to have conviction, and for the conviction, you need to study the fundamental. And let's say you have studied all the fundamentals and everything, and but you get your timing horribly wrong. That is also a very very bad situation. So I'll give you one example. I think in 2021 only, right, when the Loras was trading around some 740 50 levels, if I can recall, I made a sell call on that, right, and I recommended sell Loras when lots of fundamental analysts, only the plain, I'm talking about the plain fundamental analysts, and they got angry with me and they said, you don't know what Loras is all about, right? And then the stock fell almost 40-45% from the previous highs, right? And then suddenly those people start texting me, sir, aapko kya lagta hai, and all those stuff. And then you'll realize that only searching a great fundamental company will not solve your problem, and it will not make you money. You need to time your entry to the perfections to make serious money into the stock market. And that's why you need to study the technical analysis as well. And then third, derivative part. Because if you want to time the market, then if you don't understand the option chain or OI or cost of carry and the big money position in a derivative segment, chances are you'll be not able to time the market, right? And if you want to make money in 3-4 days and you say I'm a plain technical analyst and I want to make money on in trading, and let's say Asian Paint is also trading in derivative segments and also trading in cash segments, and you are dealing in cash segments, but and you are seeing a breakout above 2900 and the call writer is massive at 2900, chances are your breakout will fail. So you need to see the derivative as well, right, to make serious money into the stock market if you are trading for 3, 4, 5, 10 days, right? And then the big money move, because if you are betting on certain stock, you want big money to back you, so you want wind behind your back. So when you are betting on a certain stock, you want that stock to move as per your the analysis. You need to have some kind of institutional sponsorship in that stock. So whether RJ is buying or whether JP Morgan is buying or whether some sovereign wealth fund is buying, you need to study all of them, and then you have to derive at which price they have bought that stock, and whether that price is closer to the CMP, then and the chart is good and fundamental is good, you try to make an entry up on that stock, and chances are you'll be making decent money if the company is good, fundamental and everything is good. So that's why I have come with this model called FTDB. So before taking any trade in or investment in my life, I try to analyze these 4 parameters, and then I put my money into that particular instrument, whether it is Nifty, Bank Nifty, or any stock, maybe Reliance or HDFC Bank. So to start with, so to start with, I'll first of all take on the Nifty part, right? What is the outlook of Nifty at 17,300? So my fundamental part of the argument for the Nifty is like Nifty current P is around 22.4, right? So it's 22 and a half, and forward P is around 19 and a half. And right now the India's nominal GDP is around 12%, right? So 5.5, 6% inflation, 6% GDP, that's number adds up to 12%, which is highest among all the big countries in the world, right? Including China. India is now the highest. I'm not talking about Pakistan and Bangladesh or some Vietnam type of countries. Among the large economy, India is one of the fastest growing country in the world, right? And our currency is relatively stronger as compared to emerging market currencies. So these are the few but nifty companies are, and I'm still telling you, India is growing at the rate of 12% nominal GDP, but nifty companies are much more efficient, much more technologically driven, much more organized. So they will grow at the rate of 14 to 16%. And if any country where the nifty components are growing at the rate of 14 to 16%, that the downside risk for that market will be anyhow protected. No matter what Fed is doing, no matter what gold is doing, no matter what is happening. After 3, 6, 9 months, when everything will be back to the normal and all the adjustment will take place, market will only and only look for earnings, right? Earnings, which companies are doing best, which within the Nifty, which companies are reporting decent numbers. As we know, I have great regards for technical analysis, and 20 out of my, let's say, 100% weightage, 20% of the weightage in my entire study goes into the technical analysis. But I will still say this line, right? As we know, charts and prices are slaves to earnings. When the earnings is there, chart will more or less follow that pattern, right? So if the earning per share is going up, chances are for that particular stock or for that particular instrument, the chart will also reflect that, right? And right now, more on the geopolitical side, mainly on the political side, we have a very stable government in India, right? So because of that, you'll get some kind of a premium, right? Always you'll get a premium because if you have a very stable government at the center. And my firm belief is, after winning 4 states in the recent election, BJP will go all out with the reform process, right? And you'll see lots of things happening on the PSU banking side, or maybe on the railway side, or maybe with some 1, 2 small metal companies. And one or two general insurance company will get sold over the period of time, and you'll see lots of buzz about the reforms and reform process. So that momentum is going to continue for next 18 months, to say. And that is the fundamental part of the argument. Then FD rates are at the record low, which is around 5.5 and 6. And let's say some pessimist will say the RBI will hike interest rate by 100 basis point in next 1 year. Let's say FD rate goes to 7%, but post tax FD will still not beat inflation, right? So you are not going to put money into the instrument where you'll be not able to beat the inflation. Then the real estate, again, 8-9% kind of a CAGR return from, not even that kind of a return from last 10 years. Let's say real estate give you 8-9% kind of a return going forward. But here you have a serious problem in hand, because the entry cost in real estate asset is around 8 to 9%. I'll give you the math. Normally you pay stamp duty of around 5 to 6%, right? And then 1 to 2% kind of like broker commission, right? So that 8% straight away, gone, right? And to recover that money, you have to wait for 1 year. And the the ticket size for a real estate investment is roughly, if you want to buy anything in Mumbai, is around 3-4 crores, and in Delhi, if you want to buy anything which will cost you 1.5 to 2 crores minimum. So again, a very big ticket size item, and plus you have a big entry cost, right? And exit is not very easy. So real estate is also not able to give a serious competition to equity as an asset class. And last, this whole buzz around crypto has gone bust. And let me give you some remarkable data point out here. Bitcoin is down almost 27% in last 1 year time frame. And normally we as Indian are little risk averse, and I think this mania about crypto and all has gone out of the window now, and people are pretty happy with that 15-16% kind of a return with the equity. So equity is an asset class where you'll get consistently 14 to 15% kind of a return over the period of 5, 10, 20 years. That is quite visible given the backdrop, because I'll give you another remarkable data point, but later on, right? So on the fundamental side, India is well positioned globally. The key risk to my call on the fundamental side is crude is trading around $108, which is a big headache. If this crude goes to 130, 140, the chances are it will not go to that level, and if at all it goes to that level, it will not sustain. It will come back to 80, 90 or 100 kind of a zone, and then the steel and other commodity prices are going up. Soft commodity prices are going up. Palm oil prices are going up, and because of that, FMCG and auto and consumer durables companies earnings will be, you know, get some kind of a heating, right, beating in terms of, and they will face some heat, and the earnings will be downgraded over the period of time. But still, auto and FMCG and consumer durables roughly around, they form roughly around 14% of the Nifty component. Rest 80-85% is almost, non have almost zero correlation with crude prices. So let's say, for that matter, telecom, almost no correlation. Then you have banking, then you have IT, almost no correlation with the crude prices. Whether the crude prices is going to 110 or 15 or 100, IT companies will continue to do well, right? So IT, banking, and even for that matter, metal can really surprise on the positive side. FMCG and auto will surprise you on the negative side. So now quickly, on the technical part. So technical, I will not touch up in a big way, but with Nifty is in a uptrend now. After Thursday closing, Nifty is clearly in the uptrend, and it is now trading above EMA 10, EMA 21, EMA 63, and EMA 200 for all the practical purposes. And if you are a trend follower guy, you have to buy this market. As per the technical, if you are only following technicals, your buy call has triggered, right? And you must have seen the one fund which normally they are a relatively active fund. Vanguard bought big on Thursday, right? Big on Thursday, roughly, and they bought lots of mid cap. And one important part of the technical picture is Dow is rallying from last 3-4 days, and I am feeling there is a serious nervousness among short sellers and bear cartel right now, and they will be in trouble, right? So what is my positioning in terms of technicals now? I'm seeing a level of 17,600, 17,900 in coming weeks. And whenever the market goes to that level, I will quickly reduce my, right now I am 95% invested, which is fully disclosed on the Twitter. Whenever this market goes up another 4-5% from here on, I will reduce my equity exposure by 20%, and I will bring down that my equity exposure to 75%. So this is on the derivative part. Fundamental ticked. Okay. Technical, very well poised, right? Now on the derivative side, quickly. So F and T is covered. Now we are covering the derivative segments on the Nifty. So basically we are covering the Nifty outlook at the rate of 17,300. So FIs are roughly is having 60% long position in stock futures and index futures put together. So this is a very important number. After some time, FIs have turned buyer in derivative segments, and they are having a net long exposure on index futures and stock futures both together. Then retail, and one important positive sign, retail is only having, I repeat, retail is only having 9.25 lakh Nifty long position. That's it, 9.25 lakh, which is the lowest in last 2-3 months. So retail is not long into this market big time in derivative segments. They are long in stock futures, but those stock futures are again sold by mutual funds for their arbitrage fund. So again, Derivative part, market is overall light, FIs are long, and they are betting for some kind of a 2 to 3% kind of a upside for sure. Then again, most important part, the big money move part, right? So let me give you some number here, very important numbers. So FIs are selling India from last 11 months. Last 11 months. They started selling when the COVID hit us in April 2021. At that point of time, Nifty was trading at around 14,500. So from last 1 year, Nifty rallied from 14,500 to 18,600, and then again came back to, let's say, 16,000 roughly thereabout, or 15,700, and now back to 17,200. If you do the math, they sold approx 2.1 lakh crore worth of equities in Indian stock market, and that supply is absorbed by, entire supply is absorbed by DIIs, mainly the largest insurance player in India, and plus mutual funds and some of the PMS houses, and some part of the supply is absorbed by Indian retail public, right? And if you do the math and if you understand the math well, FI's average selling price of last 1 year, so if you do the VWAP on the Nifty or certain stocks, the average selling price, if you account everything, right, on the Nifty is around 17,000. So their 2.1 lakh crore equity is bought by Indian public and from Indian savings at the rate of 17,000. So practically market is still up to 2.5% from average FI's selling price, right? And let's say out of this 2.1 lakh crore, tomorrow FIS decides to put 30-40,000 crores in only 30,000 crores, $4 billion approx. Maybe Nifty can go to 18,000 levels very easily, or maybe more than that, right? So you have to understand this concept and why they sold this much. I'll give you the context also. FIs own almost $600 billion worth of Indian equities, which is roughly 45 lakh crores. They sold almost 2.1 lakh crore, which is around 4.5%. And why they sold, I'll tell you certain reason for that. So the reason is very, very simple. They faced lots of redemption in US market because people lost big money in crypto, right? So a lot of emerging market related funds saw redemption, right, in last 2-3 months. Second reason for the selling is they lost big money in Chinese tech companies, and there is almost no exit in Chinese stocks. And then later on Russia came, and almost the Russian stock market is closed from last 15-20 days. So there is no exit, and only sellable market was in last 20-30 days was India. So they sold and they met their redemption pressure. Now the US market is also recovering, Chinese market is also recovering. Chances are whatever the little redemption is left, they will be able to meet that redemption from these markets, and the no fresh selling will come. This is as per the big money move data, right? The majority part of the selling is done, and my view is from here on the flow can reverse if the crude goes below 100 or 95. And I'll give you another interesting fact here. So let me blow your mind with certain data here. So in last 1 year, India is the best performing market in the world. We are up by 16.28%, followed by S&P 500, which is up 11%. So we have outperformed USA by 5%. And normally any good trader will not sell their winners beyond a point. right? And they sold India only and only because I feel is the other markets were not down big time, and the India weightage in their respective portfolio has gone up substantially, and they have to reduce, they have to trim a bit, right? Because of our outperformance, they sold some, right? And our valuation is also little on the higher side. But I think majority part of the adjustment is done, and India is one of the top performing market, and with such a humongous size and consumption story, chances are chances are the flow will reverse and they will come back. So this is on Nifty. Now, quickly on small cap and mid cap, I'll touch upon quickly. So my view is to summarize that. My view is for next 6 months, the Nifty range is 16,400 on the downside. Give and take every factor into the account. Every factor which I have just spoken, 16,400 on the downside and 18,600 on the upside. So this is my range. I'm sticking my neck out, and I'm still maintaining my old range. Give and take 1-2% due to some war news or some overnight uh, you know uh, rally in crude and all those. Give and take 1-3% on weekly basis, but this range will be largely maintained till Diwali. So this is my view on the Nifty. Now quickly onto the small cap index. I will wrap this session maximum by 9 p.m. Maximum by 9 p.m. So on the small cap index, if you go and see the chart, because the fundamental will more or less remain the same, technical picture will also remain the same. So let's see what you have in terms of chart structure and positioning. So Nifty small cap 100 I am watching. Right now the rate is roughly, just a second, let me open the chart, just a second. Okay, so now I have the Nifty small cap 100 chart with me, and if you see here, now Nifty small cap 100 index, which is trading around 10,279, roughly thereabouts, is now above EMA 10, which is a extreme short-term trend. Now a small cap index is also trading above EMA 21, which is almost like a short-term trend, you can say. And now it is trading above EMA 200, but it is still below EMA 63, right? This is I'm telling you with last 16-17 years back tested data. Whenever the prices are trading above EMA 63, you can call it a full risk on mode. Right now the small cap index is below that, but it is trading above EMA 200, EMA 21 and EMA 10, which is a very good sign, right? Very good sign, right? Give and take the crude is $110 and all those, their earnings will be compromised and all those. Yeah, absolutely fine. And that's why they are down. They are down almost 15% from their previous highs. The index is down almost 15%, and some of the stocks are down. Some of the stocks are down some 20-30%, right? And they are facing this time correction from practically from last 6 months, to be honest, right? Since like September 2021, they are facing this time correction and some kind of a price correction as well, right? So they have gone through both in last 6 months. Chances are now, because why I am turning bullish on small cap, why I'm turning bullish on small cap, I'll give you 3-4 logic here. In small caps, you will generally find PMS, AIF, HNI and retail, mainly they are the significant players, right? I still repeat, I'm repeating it slowly. In small caps, you only have four significant players: PMS, AIF, HNI, and retail. And if you want to count it, you may count mutual fund up to some extent. Please understand. Now, mutual funds are receiving lots of inflows, right? Due to March end and March end, they will additionally get $2 billion. This is the average, $2 billion. So roughly 15,000 crores they will get, right? So PMS houses like Abacus, which is managed by Sunil and all, they will be also getting some kind of inflows going forward, right? And their performance is also good. So maybe the client will back them, and chances are from here on, these stocks has already gone through a massive price correction and time correction. And HNI book funding, and MTF book funding is almost at 24 months lows. HNI book is relatively clean. They are not big time long in small caps. Their stop loss were triggered maybe a month ago, right? Chances are after 1st of April, when the new book will open and the new loan will be given to these guys, and then the PMS and the mutual funds of the world, when they start buying these stocks, when they start buying these stocks, when they start buying this stock, small cap may rally. Then lastly, on the mid cap, on the mid cap, on the mid cap, we have we have mutual funds, PMS, AIF, and HNI are significant players. And where mutual funds are getting $2 billion plus additional SIP flows. And chances are they may rally from Monday itself. So I am keeping a very, very constructive view on the mid cap, is sideways to upward bias on the Nifty, and a very bullish view on the small cap after 1st of April. So this is my view on the market in terms of indices, right? And I think we have Sushil Kedia ji with us. Navneet, you can add him as a speaker. So my market outlook is done. Then Sushil Kedia ji will share his thoughts on the market outlook and everything, and then we will take few queries which we have already received. Navneet has received, so we'll reply to that. So Sushil ji, please, Navneet, you can add him, please, quickly.
Sir, he's already added.
Yeah, please, Sushil sir, start.
Thanks, Mr. Pandey, for getting me in here. I have
Yeah, please.
I have been for some time not feeling like getting into that ultra bearish mode that a lot of people got in. So fine, theek hai. Call me lucky. Powerful uptrend has come in. Now the question to evaluate is this just a flash in the pan? Is it just that typical very sharp bear market rally? Or does this have some sustainable legs? So I do hope I am not a biased man. So there's something called proximity bias that all of us suffer from. या तो अपनी औलाद बहुत ही नालायक लगती है या अपनी औलाद बहुत ही लायक लगती है, तो दूसरी चीजों को फिर देखना चाहिए. So oftentimes I do look at the dollar rupee chart. There may not be an economic rationale available yet, but this is a very, very tough to dismiss co-happening. I will not call it correlation, co-happening. स्टॉक मार्केट की जो मेजॉरिटी पॉजिटिव रिटर्न्स है, स्टॉक मार्केट मान लो ऑन एन एवरेज कोई साल में अगर 50% बढ़ गया, तो 50% बढ़ने में जो 3 महीने 5 महीने डॉलर का करेक्शन और रुपी की स्ट्रेंथनिंग का टाइम आता है, तो 50% में से 35% 38% रिटर्न उसी पीरियड में आ जाती, बाकी टाइम साल भर वजह टाइम पास करता है. और ये 100 आउट ऑफ 100 टाइम्स हुआ है. तो statistics are too strongly in favor, and for that reason, if temporarily एक बार 75.5 के ऊपर ब्रेकआउट आया तो सीधा एक ही बार में गैप अप होकर सीधा 77 रुपया एक ही दिन में हो गया, और उसके बाद से रुपया स्ट्रेंथन हो रहा है। तो जब मेरे रुपये के ऊपर स्ट्रेंथनिंग आउटलुक का चार्ट आता है, भले 500 पॉइंट 700 पॉइंट मंदी का नहीं कमाऊंगा या फंस भी जाऊंगा, तो आई डोंट शॉर्ट निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी एज ए रूल, चाहे कितनी बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी छूट जाएगी, क्योंकि सबको सूट करे नहीं करे, पर बॉम्बे के शेयर बाजार में रहते रहते गुजरातियों के साथ उनकी थिंकिंग दिमाग में बैठ गई है कि जब लक्ष्मी जी माथे पे टीका लगाने आए तो आदमी को बाथरूम में जाके मुंह नहीं धोना चाहिए, खड़े रहना चाहिए दरवाजे पे। मुंह धोना भूल गए कोई बात नहीं है, कब लक्ष्मी जी आके गेट से चली जाएगी, अपने तो खड़े रहो यार, टीका अपने बिना बिना धुले हुए चेहरे पे लग जाएगा। तो रुपी डॉलर की जब ये पिक्चर आती है तो वही वाली सिचुएशन रहती है कि भैया लक्ष्मी जी आने वाली है और सुसु भी आ रही है ना, तो जाने का नहीं बाथरूम में, मुंह धोने का तो छोड़ दो, तो अपने को वहां मंदी करनी नहीं है। तो भी मेरे को सस्टेनेबल डिक्लाइन इन डॉलर अगेंस्ट रुपी दिख रहा है, पॉइंट नंबर 1। पॉइंट नंबर 2, इंडिया पे हम बाद में आते हैं कि कहीं मैं बायस तो नहीं हो गया, तेजी में एक बार राइट हो गया तो मेरा सर तो नहीं फूल गया है। वो चिंता खुद को करनी पड़ती है, गांव आके बताएगा तेरी खोपड़ी सूज गई थी, तब तक तो खोपड़ी तोड़ दी जाएगी। सो आई वॉज लुकिंग एट द नैस्डैक इंपॉर्टेंट चार्ट्स, इंपॉर्टेंट स्टॉक्स फ्यू डेज अगो, एंड ये जो फेड की मीटिंग के भी 2 दिन पहले जबरदस्त जो रैली शुरू हो गई, फेड है वेडनेसडे को और सोमवार से फाटम फाट शुरू हो गई बाजार में। इन अ सेंस साइकोलॉजिकल डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ दिस मार्केट वुड बी वॉर जितनी बड़ी, फेड जितनी बड़ी बड़ी वरी, ए मार्केट दैट इज कीपिंग ऑन क्लाइंबिंग वॉल्स ऑफ वरी is a market it's a difficult market to dismiss. It's a difficult market to dismiss even for फ्रेश पोजीशन टेकिंग, जिसकी लेन बन गई, अभी क्या करना है। तो अगर एप्पल का चार्ट स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड स्क्रीमिंग बाई था मंडे को, इट्स गोइंग इनटू अ न्यू हाई, सो वाज टेस्ला एंड फेसबुक, जो एकदम पतित पावन सीताराम, मतलब जो दुखी से दुखी स्टॉक, वो फेसबुक जिस सेकंड, बार बार कोई फोन कर रहा है, आई होप यू डोंट माइंड। सो इफ फेसबुक हैज मेड अ पावरफुल रिवर्सल, अभी भी यहाँ से 30% बढ़ सकता है। बाकी के जो नैस्डैक के लार्ज कैप इंपॉर्टेंट फांग स्टॉक्स है, उनकी चार्ट्स थोड़ी सी करड़ी है, उतना कड़क पैटर्न नहीं, बट सब में वो बुलिश ब्रेकआउट्स तो हो गए विद और विदाउट वेरी वेरी पावरफुल बॉटम्स। सो इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक लेवल पे भी जाके जब मैंने कॉरोबोरेट किया कि नैस्डैक एटलीस्ट गोइंग बैक टू इट्स प्रायर हाई एंड S&P हैज क्लियरली पोटेंशियल टू इवन गो टू अ न्यू हाई, बड़ी बात है ये। अगला पड़ाव 4600 पे है S&P का, सौदा भी 4600 की नजर टिका के करेंगे, तो 4600 का ब्रेकआउट आया तो फिर सीधा न्यू हाई भी है। सो डेक्स को अगर मैं देखूं, फुटसी को अगर मैं देखूं, बोस्पा तो खैर अपने अलग ही वर्ल्ड में है, निकाई भी जिस तरह का बॉटम बना चुका है, चाइना हांगकांग का बॉटम हो गया, तो इंडिया को 1 मिनट के लिए हम बाद में आते हैं। चलो यार, बहुत दुनिया में प्रॉब्लम है, किधर तो मंदी करने लायक कोई मार्केट होएगा, खोज के आते हैं। साला किधर भी एक इंडेक्स की चार्ट नहीं दिखती जिसको आप कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ वो चार्ट में बोल दो कि इसको ठोक के पैसा बन जाएगा। तो कोई आकस्मिक घटना हो जावे कि पुतिन येड़ा ही हो गया, उसने एक न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब मार दिया और सीधा पूरे वर्ल्ड में 10% का नीचे का सर्किट आ गया, वो घटना असंभव नहीं है, पर चांस उसकी किसी भी चार्ट पे दिखती नहीं है। तो इसलिए सौदा तो छोटा ही रखना पड़ेगा आज भी, वॉलेटिलिटी अभी भी बहुत हाई है। ये जो 200 पॉइंट के गैप अप हो रहे हैं, जिसके हाथ में तेजी का सौदा लग गया वो सेलिब्रेट कर ले, वो सेलिब्रेशन रॉन्ग है, खोटा सेलिब्रेशन है ये। वॉलेटिलिटी, रियलाइज्ड वॉलेटिलिटी आज भी बहुत हाई है, भले विक्स नीचे उतरने लग गया। ये जो ट्रेडर का एक सेंस होता है ना, जिसको घटवड़ बोलते हैं, इंट्राडे की घटवड़, वो एक झटके में 250 पॉइंट का फटक से लाफा आ सकता है। सो पोजीशन उसी हिसाब से रखनी पड़ेगी। तो पूरे वर्ल्ड में अगर कहीं पे भी कोई क्लियर कट मंदी का पैटर्न नहीं है और एक बार के लिए क्रूड, गोल्ड, निकेल, सब में मतलब वो बिल्कुल आईफिल टावर टॉप एक बार के लिए बन गया, उसको भी ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं हो सकते। यहाँ से क्रूड अगर वापस 110 के ऊपर निकल गया तो ऊपर कुछ भी जुलम हो सकता है। तो वेरी निम्बल फुटेड तेजी चल रही है, उसी में शामिल होना चाहिए। और अब उसको अगर निफ्टी नीचे से आज 17,500 अगर खुलती है मंडे को, 17,447 का बंद आया था SGX में, मान लो 17,500 का अप्रोक्सीमेटली भाव पकड़ लो, तो 2,000 पॉइंट की निफ्टी तेजी हो गई, तो SBI 427 वाला 505 आ गया, तो ठीक है, अभी एसबीआई में दिमाग लगाओगे और 50 रुपए कमाने के लिए 20 रुपए कभी भी खा लेगा। पर अगर ऐसे बहुत से स्टॉक्स हैं जो अभी बॉटम से निकल रहे हैं, जो लैगार्ड्स हैं, तो 2000 पॉइंट की निफ्टी की तेजी के बाद लैगार्ड्स में ही जाना पड़ेगा। और लैगार्ड्स में आपको स्टोरी नहीं मिलेगी, एक्साइटमेंट नहीं आएगा। तो ट्रेडिंग इज अ वेरी बोरिंग बिजनेस। तो अगर आज कोई लैगार्ड्स में रिवर्सल आता है, अब पुतिन ने आके बोल दिया वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड फार्मा फार्मा कंपनीज को पुल वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड की फार्मा कंपनीज पुल आउट करेगी तो हम इंडियन फार्मा को ले लेंगे। शायद उसी बात पे सन फार्मा ऐसा पागल के जैसे 3 ही दिन में न्यू हाई पे भाग गया। कैडिला कहाँ से कहाँ भाग गया, कैडिला की चार्ट में कुछ नहीं दिख रहा था। कैडिला की चार्ट में चिड़िया का घोंसला नजर आ रहा था, अभी एकदम से घोंसला का घोंसला हो गया वो। 4 ही दिन में कैडिला कहाँ से कहाँ भाग गई, सिप्ला कहाँ से कहाँ भाग रही है। सो सो देर आर नंबर ऑफ चार्ट्स इन द फार्मा साइड। या आईटी बिल्कुल टकाटक है, आईटी के सभी स्टॉक्स में जोर आ गया है। बैंकिंग आई थिंक कोटक फट जाएगा, फिर बाद में एक्सिस का नंबर आ जाएगा। तो अंडर एस्टिमेटेड पैटर्न्स हैं, और ऊपर में जगह बड़ी बन सकती है, उसकी तैयारी रखनी चाहिए। और रिवर्सल आ गया तो सारी एनालिसिस और आज की सारी गपशप बेकार है। रिवर्सल आ गया तो रिवर्सल के साथ चले जाएंगे। बट अभी एज ऑफ नाउ, मतलब एकदम बुलेट ट्रेन भाग रही है, और आप बोलो कि मैं इसको इसके सामने आके खड़ा हो जाऊंगा, तो इसका कोई तुकबंदी नहीं है। और जो जरूरत से ज्यादा ज्ञानी है, जिन लोग रोज अपने हजार हजार ट्विटर के नकली फॉलोअर बढ़ा लेते हैं, तो वो गधों के पीछे दिमाग लगाने का मतलब नहीं है। कौन सी किताब पढ़ के आके कौन से जमाने की बात आज कर रहे हैं कोई लोग कि भैया बेयर मार्केट की रैली है। लेबल कुछ भी लगा दो, चल रही तेजी है ना, अभी तेजी में शामिल होने का माहौल लगता है। और बाकी जिसका जो भी ओपिनियन है, अपनी अपनी चीज के हिसाब से सबको अपना अपना स्टॉप लॉस रखना पड़ेगा। या मंदी गिरने का बाजार किस डाल रहे हैं, तो पिक्चर चेंज हो जाएगा। तो दैट्स फ्रॉम माई साइड। बट आई थिंक वी शुड हियर आल्सो शरद साइफ, राइट, टू बी आई थिंक इन द सेकंड रो। उनका ध्यान थोड़ा मंदी में रहता है, इट्स ऑलवेज अदर साइड। एक्सटेंड अ माइक टू शरद भाई। या शरद भाई, यू कैन रिक्वेस्ट फॉर अ माइक एंड दे विल होस्ट।
we cannot locate his handle.
शरद भाई, जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट फॉर ए माइक सो दैट ये लोग आपका हैंडल खोज नहीं पा रहे हो। शरद शाह के नाम से नहीं, उनका हैंडल अरेबिका ट्रेडर है। और ही कैन ऑल्सो रिक्वेस्ट फॉर ए माइक इफ ही इज हियरिंग मी, एंड इफ इज गॉन टू द टॉयलेट तो फिर तो ऐसे भी आप माइक दोगे भी तो ले नहीं पाएंगे। बट एट सम पॉइंट वी शुड गेट हिम इन।
ओके, सो सुशील जी ने अपना व्यू शेयर किया एंड आई थिंक सिमिलर लाइंस पे है जो हमने अभी बात करी। और आई थिंक कि जो भी सेंसिबल आदमी है, अगर वो मार्केट को 3-4 पर्सपेक्टिव से या तो चार्ट्स या फिर फंडा।
शरद भाई इज वेविंग हिज हैंड, मे बी यू कैन गिव हिम द माइक।
I cannot see him, right?
Just
I
go
don't
to
know.
the search box on the next page and search for Arabica trader. He's in the second row right under me.
No, sir. I think the positioning is totally different in on my
अभी देखो
dashboard,
उन्होंने
so I
हाथ वेव
cannot
किया,
see.
अभी हाथ वेव किया उन्होंने। शरद भाई, इंस्टेड ऑफ वेविंग, व्हाई डोंट यू जस्ट क्लिक ऑन योर माइक एंड रिक्वेस्ट फॉर द माइक?
Okay.
He's been waving his hand regularly, so I think he's already sent a speaker request. His handle is Arabica Trader. Arabica Trader. ARABICA Trader.
No, I just got a speaker request from Saurav. Then I got a request from Jayesh Jan. But today we'll keep it short. So we'll wrap this up in next 10 minutes, right? So maybe so what we can do is we can take 3-4 queries in the meantime, and then we'll try to wrap this up because I have a call at 9:30 and I have to prepare for that. So Navneet, what you can do is we can take the queries, right?
Sure, sir.
Yeah, please. So quickly 3-4 queries and then we'll wrap this up.
Sure, sir. That was very insightful from you and Shushil, sir. We hope everyone understands and converts all the information into actionable intelligence. We have got some queries after the announcement of the space. First is from Nakul Panchal. Sir, please discuss impact of reform on different PSUs.
So maybe I'm quite bullish on this PSU banking space. you're where you can see some action on the IDBI and all, right?
Pandey ji, sorry to interrupt you. Safir Anand is also here. Why don't you extend a mic to him?
So we'll just address the queries and then we'll give the mic to him. So another five
So
minutes and then
I'd
we'll
like
do
to
that.
definitely like to hear Safir Anand, and I'd like to hear Saras Shah.
Okay. So
Otherwise, otherwise, the bullish echo chamber may be more harmful. Let's hear other views.
yeah, of course. So my view on PSU banking is seriously on the bullish side, and we have some position on like on in Canara Bank, and then we have some position in IDBI. So we like this space. Then we like some railway stocks as well, right? Where you can see some action. Then maybe couple of general insurance companies may go into the private hands. So maybe some action in New India and all, right? So I'm overall positive on the reform drive, and maybe you can see lots of action in next 45 to 60 days. So this is the limited take on the reform process. Now, need second question quickly. Then we have to give the mic to Safir and other people, right? So quickly,
Sure,
huh?
sir, sure. Sir, second question is from Madala Bhanu. Metal
Yeah.
sector outlook with focus on SAIL, Hind Copper, and NALCO. Thanks.
So Nalco, we are positive from 40-45 levels. You can go and check my tweets. And then I think second one is sale, right? So sale is really, disappointed me from last 6 to 9 months. So recently we bought Tata Steel and we updated about it around 1100 rupees. That stock rallied crazy. So still like steel, JSW and Tata Steel, you can see there. And right now the entire metal sector PE, sectoral PE is around, if I go with the chart, is around 6.8, right, which is on, I think, like 10 years low, right? So, and the earnings is amazing. Companies are reducing the debt. Their interest coverage ratio is combined for top five metal companies, steel companies in India is around 13, 14 times. So debt is getting reduced. Their earnings are decent. Their ROC is improving, right? And so maybe their return ratio for the shareholders will improve going forward. And still I feel that institutions are underweight on metal sector. So if you go with the shareholding pattern in JSW Steel and Tata Steel for that matter, you will see hardly few institutions are having a sizable position in these stocks. So still a very bullish view on the metal sector. You can buy in any fear and panic. Don't chase breakouts, but surely buy these stocks with the view of 1 to 2 years. Another question, Navneet, quickly.
So third question is from Lee. So what is your forecast of the coming earning season? Which sectors will lag or which sector will do well? Also, which PSU would you recommend for 1 year and above time zone?
So IT, metal, and banking will do well in terms of result for sure. They have no correlation with this crude thing, right? And maybe FMCG, consumer durables, because of metal prices, paint companies, oil marketing companies may do badly. So this is a limited take. And PSUs, maybe you can explore some position in Can Bank or maybe some smaller PSU banking stock, right? Another question quickly.
Okay, sir. Sir, with these are not recommendation. Investors are advised to exercise their own due diligence and
Yeah,
consult
of
their
course, of course.
financial advice.
So
Yeah,
yeah, and we are a sizable player in the stock market, so we may
yes.
have a position in derivatives and cash segments. Maybe when the facts change, we may sell these stocks 2 days later, right? And we will surely will update on Twitter whatever the positioning right now we are giving right now. But for sure, do your own research. Do try to analyze fundamental technicals, derivatives, and then take positions and take position as per your asset allocation model and stock allocation model. Don't follow us blindly or any of our experts, right? Because maybe chances are uh, market may go down because of the geopolitical tension and all. So you should have some serious holding capacity to manage the volatility. So that's it from our side. Can you add Safir ji as a speaker, Navneet? Can you do that,
Yes, sir. Just a second.
please?
Please try to add Arabica Trader also as a speaker.
Arabica trader also try, please. Huh?
Because Safir and Arabica trader are completely opposite thinkers.
But Sushil ji, we want to wind this conversation by 9 p.m. max to max. Huh?
ठीक है, क्या है, ऐड तो करो, फिर देखते हैं ना कहाँ तक जाती है महफिल. Welcome, Safir. I hope Sharat Shah can also be added.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good evening.
Safir ji, you can start, huh? Please. Your take on the market at
See,
17,300.
sir, my take on the market is slightly differentiated because in the last few months, that is from February starting, I was not gung ho on the market. I was not in consonance with the fact that the market will hit a new high or will go up. And therefore, in almost all the talks, I said that it will be very important to see the behavior of the retail as also to see the developments that were happening on the geopolitical front. In that sense, my personal course of action was to move out of several small caps, particularly where the valuations had risen dramatically, and I saw that there was a lot of correction that was happening in much more credible names, both on the large cap and mid cap front. And then what happened is that due to persistent selling by FIIs, a lot of very good companies became corrected substantially. To have a 20-25% knockoff on a leadership company, according to me, was a much more interesting phase, because it allowed you to move away from some of these small caps into those much more established companies. And what has actually happened, and why I've sort of become more skeptical, because just last week itself, the portfolio rebound was very sharp. I did not expect such a sharp rebound. And therefore, to a lot of the opportunities that existed have suddenly catapulted. I don't know what has caused it. Whether the FIs were back, which is one indicator, whether it was to do with the sort of buying that Vanguard did or other reasons, but a lot of opportunities that existed in the market have just been taken. So I would like to, although I do believe that there would be a sort of a steady situation right now vis-a-vis. See, the problem is the upside, according to me, is not so significant right now. It's not so high. We can make moderate returns, and on the downside, the risk remains on how this entire commodity and food shortage and other things will play out. What is the implications of sanctions, etc., etc. So, as and when the opportunity comes, that is, as and when the volatility allows you, I think you should use it as an opportunity to buy. And as and when the market has a sharp rebound like it has had now, I think I will like to stay put. That means I'm not selling, but I'm not buying.
Okay, that's really well put. Right. So I think Kedia ji, I think Arabic trader is not there, right? So any concluding remarks from your side, and then we'll wind up this discussion, right? Please.
My concluding remark is that the stance is, see, inside this deep fear, inside a lot of discomfiture. If 3 days before the Fed meet, markets kind of bolted out like a horse out of the barn, and within this raging war, if this kind of breakouts have come, so that final climbing of the final walls of worry has begun to happen. And fine, index may have gone up by 2,000 points, so it's natural, some correction can step in. But the laggards, after a market has confirmed an up move, are a safe as well as a rewarding place. So a lot of good stocks that are just in bottom formation and may give a reversal breakout signal, reversal over the next few days. Even if the story is not so glamorous, and then one can get in. And then maybe for another space we'll reserve it. Last 2 years, certain types of stocks have taken a leadership into the market. And now maybe it's time a number of stocks that have not been glamorous and circumstances may be changing for, the glamour role of honors to change. And certain new kind of stocks may come into leadership. So not only for this very short run, but maybe some very large moves are developing in the so-called laggards because of deep underlying changes possible in them. So one should not underestimate the bull here. He has taken a nice beating for 6 months odd. and indices may have corrected not more than 2000 points or 2500 points. You can say 17-18% का index में correction है, but lots of individual stocks have been beaten to pulp between 50 to 70% also, and that's a huge correction within a short span of 6 months. So the risk is on the upside more than the risk is on the downside. We continue to be looking for, दो चीज में से निकलेंगे तो तीन चीज लेंगे. अभी तो यही माहौल है, और अगर if a big reversal works out in the market, we'll again change the stand. But as of now, दो चीज में प्रॉफिट टेकिंग करेंगे तो तीन आइटम नहीं डालेंगे. अभी नहीं लेंगे तो कब लेंगे? 6 महीने से तो लेने की इंतजार में निकल गए, अब तो लेने का टाइम है.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sushil ji. So now to just wind up the discussion, I'll try to share one of my simplest techno funda screener for mainly for short term oblique swing traders, right? So what you can do is, to start with, you try to buy companies which are having a PE less than 35, right? So first level of screening is the PE has to be less than 35 for that company. Then only you'll try to trade that company. Then the PEG ratio has to be less than 3 times, and then the interest coverage ratio for that company has to be greater than 4 times. And the fourth parameter is strong hand scan. So when I say strong hand scan, when the promoter plus FIs plus DIs put together, if the holding is greater than 75%, then only you will try to have some kind of a trading position in that particular company. Then ROC has to be greater than 12.5% minimum, and then few technical parameters. So these are the 4-5 fundamental criteria, and then you will put few technical parameters, and the parameters are: the stock has to trade above EMA 10, EMA 20, and EMA 63 and EMA 200. And the sequence for that moving averages are like: the EMA 10 has to be greater than EMA 21, EMA 21 has to be greater than EMA 63, and EMA 63 has to be greater than EMA 200. When you are finding this kind of a setup with 4-5 fundamental screeners like Nifty, PE less than 35, chances are you'll have a relatively higher success ratio in these kind of stocks. And if that stock is in derivative, you can add a couple of filters over there. So what you can do is, when the cost of carry is going up, when the cost of the cost of carry normally is having a diminishing nature. So during closer to the expiry, and on the expiry day, the cost of carry will go to zero, and the spot and future price will become the same. But for the starting of the month, the cost of carry will be roughly ranging from 0.5% to 1%. So normally every day, by theoretically, it has to go down. But when the cost of carry is going up and the fundamental is also telling you to buy that particular stock, and technical is also perfectly in place, chances are you are getting a green signal from derivative side. Open interest is going up, cost of carry is going up, technically also the stock is good, and fundamentally also the stock is good. Chances are you will get a very high strike rate in these kind of setups. Normally we trade this setup with lots of effectiveness, right? And in these kind of setups, you can get a trades with a stop loss of 0.5% of the ATR value on daily charts, and the ATR you can take with a 14 days time frame. And here the RSI, you can keep, RSI is important for the divergences and all, you can keep it for like 14 days. And if you are getting a decent support from derivatives and technical side, and fundamental is good, chances are if you take that trade with a given stop loss 0.5x of ATR value on daily charts, 75 to 80% kind of a strike rate can be easily achieved. But yeah, try to test this model with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots initially, and later on, if you are finding good traction with this particular setup, you can scale it up. So that's all from us, from our side, I think, for the day, because I have to rush for one call today. So we will keep it little short. So today is, I think we are almost done. Safuji, any closing remarks? So I have given my one techno funda screener for you guys. you can practice it, and if you have any query related to that, you can ask in coming days. Safirji, any closing remarks, and then we'll conclude the presentation.
See, I don't know. Obviously, everybody is an investor in different scripts, because I can't find these scripts that are down 30-40%. I mean, I don't think the portfolios are down more than 5 to 6% now from the tops after last week's rally. I mean, they could be in somewhere around that range. So the question is that, and the reaction has been very fast. The recovery in the global market, Europe has now recouped all its losses. So still believe that we will be a function of traditional earnings, will be a function of very specific stock specific action, etc., etc. For example, the results of the IT sector have been very good. The bounce back in the banks has been very good. So, just keep it as a disciplined activity. Don't go either too extreme on one side, that is buying, or too extreme on selling. And you nibble well, and I think you should do well.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah, totally 100% agree with you on this. So, guys, yeah, all the best. I'll see you all on the Monday, and if you have any query related to screener or any question to the speakers, you can tag me and tag them and ask your query. If they find time, they will definitely reply to your query. So, all the best to all of you. Take care. Bye bye.